Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope, a really great episode of Monday Night Raw. We are basically, 12 nights away from the first night of WrestleMania. Um, and they did a really, really good job on Raw of, establishing a lot of the key stories. A bunch of matches were made, some significant ones, some in the mid card. El Grande Americano is getting a WrestleMania match. It's Chad Gable, but good for him. Um, so the big thing that I do want to talk about here is the closing of the show, which involves Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and CM Punk. No Roman Reigns after the major angle that they had where the favor was revealed. And I talked about the favor. And there was some discourse in the space of saying, man, what a letdown of the favor just being, hey, Paul Heyman is going to be in CM Punk's corner at WrestleMania, despite being the wise man to the tribal chief, the OTC Roman Reigns. But what happened tonight, or depending on when you're watching this, what happened on Monday, 12 days out from WrestleMania, is Seth Rollins, being the master manipulator that he is, stirred the pot and basically came into the ring and said, Paul, it said to Heyman, after Heyman was basically saying, hey, I'm always going to be loyal to both of these guys. Seth comes in, makes great points. He basically says, hey, when Roman lost at WrestleMania, he left you to get attacked by a bunch of hyenas in the bloodline and get put through a table at Madison Square Garden in front of your kids. CM Punk, same situation. He wasn't there for you. We leave out the fact that he was dealing with Drew McIntyre at that point and he was trying to rehab a tricep injury, but still good points from Seth. And then Seth tries to physically provoke Paul Heyman. Out comes CM Punk and they get into this brawl. And then Seth gets a stomp after the brawl kind of, fizzles out a little bit. Punk gets stomped. And then Rollins goes to stomp Heyman. Heyman gets out of the way. And Seth says to Heyman, now you owe me a favor. Whew. And there's some people on this internet saying, this is such a stupid storyline. Guys, this is cinematic excellence. Like, this is just pitch perfect storytelling. Absolutely pitch perfect storytelling, because you've got Paul Heyman, who has been loyal to CM Punk for years. You've got Paul Heyman, who has also been loyal to Roman Reigns for a long, long time. And Seth Rollins isn't the guy in the middle of all this. He hates both of these guys. And what I think is going to happen here, which is becoming very evident, and they're planting even more of the seeds for this to happen, and maybe it doesn't, but what I think is going to happen, I thought CM Punk was going to win this match at WrestleMania. I think Paul Heyman is leaving both these guys high and dry, and he is aligning himself with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins will be a newly minted heel on Raw moving forward, and I think it's going to be a great welcome change for him. Even as over as his entrance music, we all know that Seth Rollins is a much better heel than he is a babyface. So you align him with Paul Heyman? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that is as good of an idea as you could come up with. And so this intriguing element of just like, oh, which side is, Heyman going to choose? And we kind of were forgetting about Seth for a little bit there, but this was a very interesting segment. If you don't like it, you really just don't understand the basics of wrestling storytelling here, because this is just, there's layers to this. There's, little nuances to this. Like, Paul Heyman is just so good with his facial expressions and the way that he acts and the way that he sells all of these little things. It's just really well done. Like, we saw this when he was getting kicked out of the bloodline. We saw this when he was selling the whole thing. Hey, I got to take this favor from Punk. And now, now he's got to sell, hey, I've got another dilemma on my hand. I didn't stomp you. I let you go. You owe me a favor now. So I think the favor to Seth 12 days out from WrestleMania is, hey, you're helping me win this match, not the championship. It's effectively a championship match. That's the other part of this that's weird. But here's the thing that needs to be mentioned about this story is when the story dictates, or the, prize really, or just, however it is being told or whatever is being said on screen, by the actions and like, the motivations or how big these stars are in this case, it warrants a main event spot. And I know a lot of people are upset that, Roman and Seth and Punk, it's not for a title. There's no way to get into the world title match. And everybody's like, oh, it's all over a favor. It's all over Paul Heyman. Guys, these are three of the biggest names in the company. And Paul Heyman has made and CM Punk too, and all these guys have made just a simple favor and got you intrigued in just that. Just because it wasn't what you wanted doesn't mean that it is not good. This is not a stupid storyline. This is fantastic storytelling. And, you can juxtapose it right to what's going on in AEW because that's the thing that, most of these people who hate on this because CM Punk is such a lightning rod for the people in that place still that, they got a story with the Death Riders. Nobody cares about them. There's no motivations whatsoever. They speak in riddles. None of it makes sense. Like, at least you have a motivation here that started back in November, and then it leads into something that was said 10 years ago. And you talk about all of this, and then obviously the 5-year relationship with Roman Reigns, and then Seth's intertwined with both of these guys. Like, this is just so well executed to get a triple threat match with no stakes whatsoever out of it and get you that intrigued in it. If you've got a problem with that, then you really just do not understand what the fundamentals of engaging people and getting people to care about shit. This is what wrestling storytelling, this is peak wrestling storytelling at its finest. And there's been so many different things that have played a role in this. The stomp in the Elimination Chamber, the steel cage match, the Royal Rumble, War Games, because Seth brought that up. Hey, Seth was the first choice, not Punk. Like, there's so many little things that have been planted throughout the last year or so. Because remember, the initial plan was supposed to be Rollins and Punk for the world title at Mania 40. Punk got hurt. That led off to a whole storyline. And now we started this new chain of events that has led to what has happened here. And now you've got the new added element of, oh, Seth Rollins was basically playing the straight man in this. No, Seth Rollins may walk out with, the win and Paul Heyman as his now wise man friend, as Paul Heyman potentially betrays, his tribal chief and, and his best friend CM Punk. Because Seth made some really good points here. This was an awesome, awesome segment to close the show. Created a ton of intrigue. And it's just like, I don't understand what these people, you're just basically a hater if you don't understand where this is going. Just because it's not for a title or anything, or it's like, it's a favor. It's about Paul Heyman. Guys, it's getting you talking. It's gotten you interested. And, just because it's a letdown, or in your eyes, because if it's a letdown, you don't get what you haven't been paying attention. And, maybe this is just a product of people having short attention spans. And, maybe that's why some of these people like AEW, because, hey, they just want to go for mindless violence and mindless, wrestling matches that mean nothing. Maybe that's it. And that's why CM Punk's in WWE and, he's not in AEW anymore. Because that's not the vision he wanted, was long-term storytelling, and you're seeing it play out in front of your very eyes. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.